while Google once again, just like before with VO3, Flow and Whisk, defines strict limitations and grants access to the new world model, Genie 3, only to a very small group of users, many people are left somewhat disappointed, probably worldwide. As a motivated user, it is hard not to feel like being pushed back onto the bench once again, waiting until the whistle finally blows and the gate is opened. That is exactly why, in the context of the release of Genie 3, I want to take a closer look at a few alternatives the market already offers. Some are available as open source models, some as concept studies, some still in beta, and others as paid versions. More extensive research shows one thing. Google Genie 3 is not the only AI platform that makes interactive worlds explorable. The applications differ noticeably, but it is still fascinating to see what's out there. When comparing these models, it becomes apparent that most of them follow a very similar goal: to explore, to develop, to move forward. Naturally, users start asking themselves questions like, what is waiting behind the next corner? Can I make it to the highest mountain, or all the way to the horizon? Can I step into a world that previously existed only as a single image? It is a very exciting journey. Since Google is shaping the headlines today, that is exactly where we will start. Genie 3 shows quite clearly where this journey is heading. Freely explorable, interactive worlds that are no longer just rendered, but meant to be experienced. You type in an idea, start moving, react, discover. It sounds great, and it really is. On the Google DeepMind website, you will find a range of highly impressive examples that instantly make you want to press the start button. You can almost smell the adventure. Whether it is a bird's eye view, carefully walking along a mountain ridge, surfing gigantic waves, or driving a car across an entire planet. The idea is simple. Creativity has no limits, regardless of style. The DeepMind team is clearly aiming high here. Their goal is to create interactive worlds that are no longer distinguishable from real ones. Looking at these examples, it becomes clear how precisely space, events, and actions can be defined. If the location is a prairie and the event is brown bear, then exactly that can be defined. Or another example, the location is a museum and the objective is approach the mammoth. You decide entirely for yourself how you experience the world. Have you heard of LingBot World by Robiant before? This open source world simulator is something like the indie secret among world models: raw, open, experimental. And that is exactly why it is so interesting. Here you can see very directly how a world is created and reacts in real time. Looking at the video quality alone, it is fair to say, absolutely impressive. And once again, it becomes very clear that you can actually experience the space using the familiar keys WASD. Ever wanted to swim through a pond as a tiny duck? Here that is entirely possible. A question of style? Not really. LingBot understands what it is given and seems to handle movement, dynamics, and lighting with surprising ease. More information is available on GitHub as well as on Hugging Face. The Hunyuan World Model 1.5 does not feel like a demo at all, but much more like a construction kit for real worlds. These are 3D spaces you do not just look at, but actively think further, extend, and put to use. It feels more like an engine than a showpiece. Especially interesting if you want to move beyond pure 2D image logic. The results stand out in first and third person perspectives, with stylized interpretations, real-time triggered events, and 3D reconstruction output. When looking at the different quality levels, you can notice some slight flickering here and there, and particularly in photorealistic scenes, a reduction in fine detail becomes visible. Additional information is available on GitHub and Hugging Face. Marble, a multimodal world model, focuses less on action and more on spatial understanding. Explorable 3D spaces are created from text, images, videos, or coarse 3D layouts. The AI thinks less in terms of gameplay and more in terms of structure. The results are output as Gaussian splats and meshes, which influence the visual appearance. This also means that, for example, you cannot move endlessly through a space. I have already published 2 tutorials with a detailed introduction to using Marble, link in the description. Different styles are possible here as well. If you want to turn these individual spaces into explorable worlds, they need to be combined afterwards. RTFM thinks about worlds frame by frame, in real time. It is not classic world building, but a model that constantly recalculates what happens next. Very technical, very research-focused. But this is exactly where the foundations for smooth, responsive worlds are created. The controls, at least in the examples shown here, rely on two console elements, one on the left for movement, one on the right for rotation. The user appears to glide through the space rather than walk, as seen in the swimming pool example. A reference image defines how the world should look, and within that space, movement becomes possible. If you have visited my channel over the past few days, you may have noticed that I already published a fairly detailed tutorial on PixVerse R1, link in the description. Feel free to check it out. PixVerse tries similar to what we saw earlier with Hunyuan, to trigger real-time events within a 5-minute film. You first choose the type of presentation, POV, ambient, or dramatic, then define the world and use prompts to tell the AI what it should do. The main challenges here are the slightly lower resolution and the roughly 10 to 12 second delay between entering a prompt and seeing the action happen. According to the developers, the platform is currently still in a scaling phase. Runway GWM1 is described as a model for real-time world simulation and exploration. The goal here is to create endlessly explorable realities in real time. The intended use case focuses on interactive play, game creation, explorable space, and immersive design. Movement works through arrow key input. According to Runway, these worlds are designed to maintain spatial consistency even across longer sequences of movement. However, the entire project is still in development and currently labelled as coming soon. Hands-on experience is not possible at the moment. Odyssey-2 Pro describes itself as a world simulator that dreams in video. According to the developers, it offers up to 8 minutes of streaming AI video, begins streaming instantly, and supports what they call open-ended interaction, whatever that is meant to imply. I uploaded an image here as a test, and it becomes clear that there are still a few challenges, even with the latest model. The AI seems to have a tendency to reinvent things that were not intended at all. Let's take a big step into a very different corner of world building. Rosebud AI creates a direct bridge to games. Worlds are not built just to be looked at, but to be played, modified, and expanded. You can upload an image and use it to build your own world, all based on a very simple foundation and clearly not comparable to Google Genie 3 and similar systems. However, if you want to create a short, playful adventure, this is definitely a place where you can get creative. And finally, one last step back in time to the very beginnings. Oasis, the first experiential, real-time, open-world AI model. Here you can see once again in the style of a well-known game how visual representation has changed over time. From today's perspective, this is of course no longer up to date, but the development steps triggered by it are highly important. One of the studios behind Oasis was Descartes, by the way. With Mirage LSD and Lucy Edit Live, they offer real-time video-to-video AI tools that allow live influence over the AI output. Well, that was a quick look at a few examples. Let me check once more. No, Google Genie 3 is still only available via the Ultra plan. So either try one of the other models or do what I am doing right now. Grit your teeth and hope that Google and the DeepMind team eventually think of their users and unlock it for the Pro plan as well, and worldwide. I'll say it already, thanks Google. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Your channel, AI Now You Know.